from the press briefing we just had with the African Risk Capacity, where we spoke about the commitments of COP28 and climate change, climate financing, discussions around that. Commissioner will also elaborate on that. She will also brief us on the post-Malabo development process, as well as the preparations for the Africa Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit that is coming up this year. Commissioner, allow me to give you the floor.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and the press, and all protocol duly observed. I will have 3 points that I'm going to talk about. The first one, I will start with CADEP. As you know, that this department covers agriculture, rural development, and as well as blue economy and a sustainable environment. So let me start with the first directorate, which is agriculture and rural development. I'm sure many of you are aware that in 2003, our head of states and government decided to put agriculture as a priority, taking into account the food insecurity status that we have on the continent. So our head of states came in Maputo, and then they decided to really create this flagship program, which is the Comprehensive African Agriculture Development Program, known as CADEP, for food security and also agriculture development. That was agriculture transformation, in Africa. This was reaffirmed 10 years after. Our head of states tried to track progress in terms of the implementation of the flagship program. Not much progress was done then. Then in 2014, during the summit in Malabo, then they came out, they reinforced the CADEP Maputo Declaration, and they also decided to bring more 7 commitments on the Malabo Declaration. So we have the 7 commitments, but we kept the value and principle of CADEP. And then we came out with ending hunger by 2025. We came out with halving poverty by 2025. So we had a 10 years action plan in Malabo Declaration. So this process went on during 2 decades. We have 2 decades of this flagship program, which is going to expire next year. So that is going to expire next year. During this process, the Malabo Declaration, the commitment number 7, we were asked to do a mutual accountability, to commit mutual accountability to track progress on the implementation of those 7 commitment that our head of states and government put on Malabo Declaration. So we started, when I took office, we had the first edition of the biannual review report, and that I presented it in 2017. And in we had the first biannual review reports, and then in 2019, we presented the second annual review report to the head of state, the summit. And then the third one is 2021. We presented another biannual review report, because this 2-year series, I mean, this type of tool is really helping us, because member states are becoming aware of, they're creating awareness of the importance, and it is an exercise that is really, and we also have the scorecard, so that is really, we are seeing progress in this type of assessment, because we are here, we cannot just make a decision and elaborate tools, and the tools we are not implementing. That is why we are happy, because although the last edition, we just presented it to our STC, this last edition, no country is on track to meet the Malabo target, which is ending hunger by 2025. But the good news is that about 19 countries have made progress, because the benchmark now is very high. I think it's 7.3 to over 10. So, but we have a lot of countries that came below below 5, so which is quite okay. We can say that this instrument of CADEP-Malabo has really made a transformative, although we are not on track, but it has made a transformative and give more visibility to about agriculture, about food security, food system. So now we have the new tool. We say that like next year is going to expire. What is the way forward? So we have already kicked off the process. We had kicked off the process. We had a consultation meeting with our REX. We have with our REX to present just the roadmap of the CADEP-Malabo Declaration. And then we also had our STC, which is the Specialized Technical Committee, ministerial. We presented also the report. We presented the report to the, no, not the report, I'm talking about the post-Malabo. So we presented a concept note and also the roadmap to our ministers, and they approved it. So we are going to submit it to our head of state so that we can start elaborating building the new 10 years action plan for the CADEP implementation. We are lucky also. While we have some good tools that we can really strengthen this CADEP, the decennial 10 years action plan, because we have had the UN food system. We had the UN food system that was called by the Secretary General of the UN, Mr. Guterres. So then we are the only region that we are able to elaborate a common position. We reinforced that common position. We submitted because all the other regions, they didn't have any document to present, but we presented. For us, that document, we will use it also to reinforce the gaps of CADEP-Malabo Declaration. For instance, we want to put more focus on agri-food system instead of just food system. We want it to cover all the value chain, and we also want to make more focus when you look at the status of nutrition in our continent is very low. So we want to improve on nutrition. We also want to create, because of the problem issue of the nexus with climate change. So we want to create really, resilient system, resilient seeds, resilient program, on this, so that we can mitigate the impact of climate change. So we are just waiting to get endorsed by our head of state, and then we will start working on it. We are going to also, tomorrow, we are going to launch the steering committee that we put in place. We are working amongst core partners like FAO. They are on board. We are calling the REX to join us in this movement so that we can start elaborating this document. The roadmap is that we want to have, when we finish elaborating this document, we want to have an extraordinary summit to approve the new CADEP. We don't know which capital. We have already, a country, Kampala, wants to host the summit. Maybe we have Kampala Declaration, and then that Kampala Declaration will be our own policy, continental policy for the transformation of the agri-food system. So that's where we want to go. Do I go point by point, or yes, so that I can yes, collect more? So I think that is what we are doing in the department. If you have any question, clarification, I'm open to answer you. Just on agriculture first, after we talk about environment.
Probably, Commissioner, we do the entire brief, including the Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit.
Fertilizer. And
then we'll open the floor to the press to get any reactions on all the three topics.
Concerning fertilizer in 2022, our head of states approved call to convene Africa Fertilizer and the Soil Health Summit. This is because in 2006 we had the Abuja Declaration. We had a summit. The first summit was in Abuja in 2006, and then the aim of that summit was to increase the use of fertilizer in Africa. We wanted to increase the use of fertilizer to 50 kg per hectare. That was in 2006. Now, with the time when we try to assess if really countries are implementing the Abuja Declaration, we saw that they haven't made any progress on that. Some other regions, they use at 130 kg for the cereals per hectare. The progress we made up to now, minimum average is 18 kg per hectare. So we haven't reached the 50, even 50, we didn't reach it in the use of fertilizer. So that's why the head of state said we should convene another summit, and we have another action plan. Is it 10 or 15? 10 years action plan. We have already got the 10 years action plan, and we're supposed to organize it last year, but due to some factors, factors, financing, all these organization of the fertilizer, then the Republic of Kenya postpone it, and we are supposed to have it on the 7 to 9 this year, next month, about 2 months to come. So in May we are going to have this fertilizer. We are also engaged with our partners. We have a lot of partners that are interested to support us in the use of fertilizer. So I think we are on track now to organize our fertilizer summit. We are engaged with the host country, and there is a lot of progress. We believe that we are really going to organize it in May this year. More details, Dr. Janet is here. She will say, because we created this committee, and under my leadership, so she's the focal point to follow up all these actions on the fertilizers. On fertilizer. So we also, I think, we have some project that we really want to make a lot of emphasis. One of them is the CAP, the African Common Agro Park. This initiative we've been working on it since 2018. And then it's really having progress, because it was even before COVID, we're thinking of having a food reserve on the continent. So when we came, the lesson learned from the COVID-19 pandemic was that when we wanted to import our rice and the cereals, we could not, because everything was blocked. The Asian countries, our traditional market, they banned all the export goods. So we saw that we're so vulnerable that we needed to do something, and we said that with this initiative, we have our own food reserve. We have our bread basket. We have our own food reserve on the continent for certain commodity. In case we have any shock, we have our own reserve. And also, another advantage of CAP is we have the Africa Free Trade Area, the IFCFTA. So we have the IFCFTA. So this will be one of the pilot projects to implement. Like this year, it was year of to accelerate the IFCFTA. So with this project, we'll be able to do the inter-African trade. And this inter-African trade is also one of the commitments of the Malabo Declaration to accelerate the intra-African trade among us, and also it is one of the core of the Agenda 2063 to bring integration, to integrate the continent, to strengthen the integration of our continent amongst ourselves. So this CAP, the project we intend to have at least Each region will have an hub of a certain commodity, chosen commodity, so that we can trade amongst us. And I think Mr. Alsen is there because we have a bureau. Now we have a bureau of this to elaborate, to work on this initiative. It is based in Fara, in Ghana. And then we also have a steering committee and a structure. We created a structure to work together in terms of coordination. So we have a steering committee, and we've been receiving a lot of support from Afreximbank. Afreximbank is a member of our steering committee, and we've been getting a lot of support. We are also engaged with our member states that are trying to do the transboundary trade. So we have identified 2 countries, two regions that we can kick off the CAP initiative. We have Zambia and Zimbabwe. We have the Zambia and Zimbabwe. We are going to have a hub there for cereals and other crops, maize and dairy products. And we have Cote d'Ivoire and the Ghana. So Cote d'Ivoire and the Ghana's CAP will be for cocoa. They have already started, but we want to use those examples as a pilot project, and later on, we can disseminate or mainstream to all other regions to make our own herbs or agro-park and agro-industrial park. We know that it is a very mega project, and it's going to create a lot of jobs for the youth. It's going to how do I say, is going to give us a food security. We are going to attain the level of food security on the continent, and also the intra-African trades on our continent. So we also have the outcome of the African Post-Harvest Congress and Exhibition. That one too is we organize it, and it's really giving us a lot of visibility in terms of what we are doing in this important sector, which is CADEP. I think for CADEP, I think we have I've covered almost most of the areas that we are making a lot of attention. I talked about the fertilizer, I talked about CADEP, and also about CAP. Those are the initiatives that we really want to. We are, really coming very, very strongly. We have some support here and there. The ADB has given us also some support in some commodity during the COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Russia and Ukraine. And we can see that Ethiopia is doing very well in wheat production today. So this is really a very good milestone. So concerning the environment, in terms of the environment, as you are aware that last year we had the inaugural Africa Climate Summit in Nairobi. It was in Nairobi, so this one, it gathered all of us, all the 25 member states were there, partners, and then we came with, we endorsed it by our head of state, and we went to COP28. In COP28, our focus was really to mobilize resources to implement the 60 areas of that the Nairobi Declaration. Nairobi Declaration. Tomorrow we will have we have our side event on climate finance for agriculture and food security. We have it tomorrow as one of the first events to implement the Malabo, the Nairobi Declaration, to implement the Nairobi Declaration. Our declaration in Nairobi is also strong because we say that we have 2 pillars that is important: the green development program, and then the mechanism for financing agriculture, because we know that we are not polluters. We have less than 4% of our emission, but we are the more vulnerable on that. So what we did that we cannot dissociate agriculture and climate, because agriculture in Africa is a rain-fed agriculture. We depend on the pluviometry of weather tendencies. So all this is really is really disrupting our progress in terms of agriculture. As you can see, this region where we are in the Horn of Africa is hit by the drought, is extreme drought. And then we have some countries like in the southern region, the Mozambique, Madagascar, they have all those cyclones that are coming, a lot of flood. We had a flood in Libya, and we also had an earthquake in Morocco. So you can see every day we have an issue. So what do? We have a unit here in the African Union where we have the disaster risk unit capacity. So, and we have also we're blessed to have a fund from Italy. So we have a situation room. If you have the time, you can go to the old building. You will see the situation room where we focus. We focused all the weather events, and then we make a report and we send it to our member states. The PRC, we send it to our member state for them also to inform their country about the situation, the weather situation on the continent. We want to extend this situation room to also predict, when we have the, pests and diseases that are occurring, due to the climate change. We're working on that with Sweden. They are ready to support us. That if we see that the tendency of the weather in certain zone, then we can inform our member states so that they can take preparedness for their population. We also have the African Union strategy on climate change. On resilient climate change. We have it. It has been approved. It was approved in 2022 by our head of state. So we are now in the phase of implementing the strategy on climate change, because we didn't have a strategy on climate change. And in terms of the disaster risk reduction, we also we are trying to build on what we are doing in agriculture, to also start evaluating our member states to implement also the declarations that come out from the COP. In terms of the COP28, it was a good COP because we came out with some hopes, because this is a 28 COP. We had COP21 in 2015 in Paris. And we came out with a bold commitment, and the industrial countries, they pledge to contribute $100 billion per year to the vulnerable countries. Up to now, we haven't seen anything. So we are going from one COP to another, one negotiation to another. There are not tangible results that we saw, but COP, we started seeing a little progress in COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh. We had it in Egypt. In Sharm el-Sheikh, we put on the adaptation, and the presidency, under the presidency of Egypt, there became a lot of initiative, because for us, we are not saying that we don't want mitigation, but the most important thing for us is adaptation. We have to adapt to the impact of climate change. So that's why what I'm saying, the good thing now that we came, the good outcome or takeaway we took in our continent in Africa is this, the creation of the Lost and Damaged Fund. Because like I was saying, when we have the cyclone, when we have the thing, we don't have a fund, to rescue our member states. So that's why they committed themselves that we are going to put a fund for lost and damaged, because we have to do climate justice, because we cannot just be like that. We are not the responsible for that, but we need to really rescue people in terms of when we have hazard. I think those are the most important areas that we are doing. And for the last one, it is the GRAP. We have a program immediately after COVID. We negotiated with some partners, and we were able to come out with a tool, which is the Green Recovery Action Plan. because we need to recover after COVID, because it came with a lot. It affected us seriously. So we came with the GRAP, and we have about five pillars on that GRAP, which we covered everything. We covered access to finance. We covered renewable energy. You know that. We want to reduce the use of fossil, all these energies, so we want to have a green energy. For it has to be not immediately, because we have an issue in Africa, because we have some countries that oil, like my country in Angola, we are oil producer. Nigeria, you cannot tell a country that derives its revenue from that commodity and say from today, tomorrow, remove. Because if we want to invest or transit to another energy, you need to invest. You really need to invest, and it takes time. And that was what we're expecting our counterparts, the industrialized country, to support us in going towards that. So during our COP, we always tell them that we are not saying that we are not going to leave those energies that are polluting, because the planet is really sick, as we can see. But we are telling them that Africa, we have adaptation and just energy. So if those things are not really follow, I don't think we will achieve. And this type of negotiation, it's likely going to collapse, because it's becoming too expensive for our countries. This is taxpayers. It's becoming too expensive. And some countries, when they're hosting these COPs, they increase the prices of hotels. You know, you go to a hotel, you are paying $800 per day, and you come out, you don't have anything. So we Africans, with what we saw in Nairobi, I think we might leave that COP and do our COP the way we did in Nairobi ourselves, because it's not, there's no profit on going to the COP. It's becoming like we are going to tourism, and they're giving opportunity to countries that are hosting to raise their prices of hotel, and there's no tangible results. So the best thing is to really to withdraw from that. Africa, all the Africans, we should withdraw from this thing of COP. I submit, if you want.
Thank you, Commissioner, for sharing with us what the African Union is doing in terms of enhancing food security on the continent, whether it's in terms of agriculture, agribusiness, climate change, innovative financing, whether it's in terms of monitoring and evaluation as well, and how all this translates into the well-being and welfare of the African population. I'll now open the floor to the press to be able to pose your questions. I will ask that you introduce yourself by name, the media that you work for, and then proceed with a very brief question. I will also ask that you come speak from this mic, so we are able, the interpreters are able to hear you as well. May I see by show of hands? I can see one hand here. Two hands, Ivona, I see you. Any other hand from the back? So, Commissioner, maybe we take those two questions, and then if there are further clarifications, we'll come back.
Commissioner, good afternoon. My name is Rutendo Matinyarare from LN24 SA. My question is, there are a number of documents that have been written in the 1960s, particularly 1962, by the American government. What comes to mind is NSSM 200, where there was a deliberate agenda by Richard Nixon to use food as a weapon to control the world. And part of that strategy was to use fertilizers. It was also to use seeds by substituting African seeds and traditional seeds with Western seeds that were not adapted to our climate, that would be water thirsty. So is our strategy changing and shifting from ensuring that the grains that we are saying Zambia, Zimbabwe are going to be focusing on are going to be grains that are local, tailored to our environment and climate? Or are we still going to be relying on the grains that were brought in by the colonizer? And the fertilizer that you spoke about, are we looking at using synthetic fertilizers that are deemed to actually be detrimental to the environment, detrimental to water bodies, detrimental to underground water, and they're actually said to destroy the soil cohesion and the bacteria and living organisms in the soil? What strategy are we implementing? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yvonne? Commissioner,
so-
let's take the question from Yvonne, and we answer both of them.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. Thank you so much. My name is Yvonne from LN24 SA. More or less like what my colleague was asking, you spoke about Africa being the breadbasket of our food. Is the food even still healthy? Are we moving towards keeping our food organic? I mean, we have a history of eating organic food in Africa, which was very healthy even in the traditional times, not tempered with nothing, and our children were healthy, our grandparents were healthy. But we have a lot of things happening right now, and also a cause for concern when it comes to people's health. Is there a clear strategy in terms of actually preserving our organic foods and keeping the breadbasket healthy? Another thing I wanted to ask is, could you confirm the issue of patented plants in Africa?
What?
Yes, patented plants in Africa, which, if true, they have taken away subsistence farming from most families, because if you have to grow the patented plants in your backyard, you might have to pay a fine or something like that. Could you confirm that, please? What exactly is it, and who owns the patents? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the two questions. First of all, let me go to the first question. According to this document in 1962, using food as a weapon to harm, the African people. Well, a lot of things have been said, mostly in the social media about this issue. We know some big foundations, and then they want to, we don't have any proof, but we are all aware that we should be very careful about this type of strategy of changing our food to all these, the grains. Let me talk my heart. When I see that before, like you said it very rightly, before farmers used to keep their seeds from one season to another. Today, all these seeds, we don't know where they're coming, and they are telling us that the local seeds, our local seeds, are not, the yield is very low, they are not productive, so that's why science has modified some, genetic modification or some seeds to get a better yield. Well, and then this comes the big issue of NGO. Yeah. NGO and NGO, the GMO, sorry. Then comes the issue of GMO. So we have to be careful. This is really sovereignty of each country. Countries are sovereign. The commissioner cannot control. Countries are sovereign. If they want to buy in these seeds or whatever, they're free to do it. Because when you talk to some scientists, they say that there is no evidence base that GMO are not good. Science is not telling us that. That's what they say. Because even South Africa, they use GMO, but they say that they produce it themselves. Maybe through research, science and research, we can go around and see who are using it and how is that product. South Africa, they say that what they are producing, it doesn't have anything to harm the human's health. It's clear. They give maybe the content of how they do genetics. Maybe the scientist here can tell us, because he's the director of SAFGRAD. He can give us more information. In terms of fertilizer, what type of fertilizer we are going to do? Our summit is not only fertilizer. It is a fertilizer and soil health. And we have that 10 years action plan. Dr. Janet can answer what type of fertilizer we want to use, but we tend to go more on organic fertilizer. We tend to go more on organic fertilizer, and I believe our 10 years action plan will cover all these things, because some countries, they are very skeptic in using all these synthetic fertilizers. I think Dr. Janet can back me with the action plan that we have developed to be careful what type of fertilizer we are using. And also, of course, today, as I say, agriculture is so much related to climate change. We can see that some fertilizer are, spoiling the environment, the atmosphere. There's a lot of so we need to be to really be very careful not to make mistake. And that's why I'm saying that the post-Malabo is a document that we are going to build. All these issues that you raise, we have to, because it will be a consultative approach. We are going to each region. We are going the way we did our 10-year. Our common position on the food system summit, the UN Food System Summit. We are going to do the same approach to go region by region, and then get everybody on board. And then we write a bolder and precise 10-year action plan. For the breadbasket, healthy food, I think it goes along, because that's why I was saying that in our new 10-year decennial plan, we need to put nutrition, because we don't want just to have a basket food. We need to put nutrition. We are also working with some partners that they want to assist us in our own local neglected crops. Our neglected crops, they want to use a biofortification, but those ones, they are not, they have nothing to do with GMO. It's just, to, do some science or improve our seeds. We improve, and in this fertilizer also, we are going to improve our soils, because it's just like if you want to eat, you know what you want to eat. If you are sick, you know what to. If you have headache, we know. So what we are going to do is to do the mapping, and go and test the soil, and know what type of soil, because not all soils need fertilizer. For instance, some they are rich in nutrients, phosphorus, all these kind of things. So we have to be very careful. So for the pattern plants, I think, Professor Doctor, can you? I don't have any idea about it.
Actually, Excellency, with your permission, let me to thank you for learning from you.
Director, let me invite you to come sit here so we may speak to the mic.
There's no need to sit. Just with your permission, Excellency, because the time was very limited. My name is Dr. Ahmed El-Makas. I'm the head of the African Union Semi-Arid Food Grain Research and Development Office located in Burkina Faso. And we are under supervision of Her Excellency Commissioner. Actually, in briefing, Excellency, for limited time, there is many effort. Maybe you just skip it. African Union now we have framework for irrigation for African Union. We have a guidelines for pastoralists. So we are not just limited to issues. Our office is very wide. And as Her Excellency mentioned, she has a very big portfolio. We have 2 divisions, we have 5 technical offices, and so on. For the issue of the seeds, in my office level, we are encouraging adapted, locally improved seeds. Adapted, locally improved seeds. This is what we are doing in our office, which is important for Africa. In addition, we have the National Agriculture Research Centers. We are working with them. And our research centers, they have the same concern. We have our continent, which we have to improve and develop our research center in this ways. In the issue even of irrigation, with your permission, Excellency, recently we have supported 3 regional economic communities, namely IGAD, AEC, and COMESA, to develop their own strategic plan, which were developed and validated, and now in the endorsement process at regional level. So we are doing a lot at national level, at regional level, and at continental level. For the issue of the seed, actually part of the copyright, but we have to do some work in that, because the part of the copyright, the issue of the varieties, and we have to protect the right of the breeders in this issue. We have some work to do. We have an office even in Lagos, belonging to our Department of ST, and we have some work to do that to keep our farmers' rights and our researchers' rights. Thank you, Excellency. adapted. Sorry? No, actually, you are mentioning about the imported seeds and the risk in the future. We are strengthening our national agriculture researchers to use our national seeds and improve it. So it will be adapted, locally adapted, improved seeds. Even if we bring seeds from our side, outside, we have to guarantee it is adapted to our environment, not just something to use it for 1 year, season, 2 seasons, and then it will be killed. We are looking for the future of our continent. For the Agenda 2063, Africa, we want, not Africa, other wants. Thank you. Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you, Director. I think to say that in African Union, we are more policy, here we are more elaborating policy, but we have our centers. So to African Union, the way, because if you are not inside, you will not know that we are doing a lot. African Union, we have our centers. Each department, they have their own centers of excellence. So we have our center. We work also with FARA. FARA is our technical support for all these issues related to seeds and this, and support also our member states, to support our member states. So that's the importance of this. Like here we have PAMVAC. We have PAMVAC here in Ethiopia, and this PAMVAC eradicated the rinderpest in Africa. And so now we have an ISO to deliver vaccines for our member states. So if we want to buy vaccine, it passes through here, our lab, PAMVAC, it passes through here, and then after we distribute, we work with our member states that way. We are even going to to have the groundbreak of the new lab, because the lab is old, since '63. The premises are old, so we are going to do the groundbreak on the 21st of this month, just after the summit. We are going to have it, because for animal vaccine, because there's also the director of ARBE, so we have the Center of Animal Health in Nairobi. They are based in Nairobi. They're based in this, to say that we have a very good structure. What we need for this structure really to be proactive is just investment. Because the books, we have all the strategy, we build all the strategy, but to operationalization of all this strategy, that's where the constraint is. That's the big challenge that we are not advancing. Otherwise, there is, the African Union is doing a lot for the continent, all the departments.
Thank you, Commissioner. I had seen another hand up.
Yeah,
if
madam,
you would indulge us for one question, kindly say your name, Media House, proceed with your question.
Merci. Je suis Ramatou Keita, Songhai Empire Productions et Songhai Press. Ma question, c'est quand monsieur parlait d'améliorer les semences et tout ça, dans cette idée, cette disposition de vouloir améliorer des choses qui existaient déjà et qui marchaient très bien. Donc pourquoi est-ce qu'on cherche toujours à changer des choses qui marchent bien en disant qu'on va améliorer? Et c'est dans cet esprit, dans cette façon d'améliorer que parfois il y a des accidents génétiques qui posent des problèmes aux gens. Les choses marchaient. Pourquoi est-ce qu'on veut les changer?
Yes, she's saying that those seeds, before it used to work. Why is it not working now that we have to change the character of the seeds? Why do we need to improve or adapt the seed? If the seed then it used to work, why is it not
it's not
working?
the issue of
climate change.
Yes, Excellency, there is 2 dimensions, as you have mentioned, Excellency. It is the issue. Yes.
Would you allow follow-on questions together with her question, then they can be answered?
Director, the press is proposing.
Yeah?
They have a follow-up question to what she had asked, if they can do, so you all answer together.
Okay.
So I'll give you the floor one more time, anyone, and then we close up after the director's response. Please. It's okay, Director,
All right.
you can say.
So, thank you again, Commissioner. I came here just to put something on record in the form of a question. You raised the issue of South Africa and GMOs. And as a Southern African, I thought it is important for me to put something on record, because we feel like our scientists in Africa are not doing correlation coefficiency on issues that they should be doing correlation coefficiency. So for example, we've got the highest rates of HIV in the world in Southern Africa. And the 4 nations that have the highest HIV in Africa are countries that are known as the BLS states: Botswana, Lesotho, South Africa, and Swaziland. All of these countries consume foods from South Africa that happen to be genetically modified. And the groups of people most affected by the HIV are the people that eat the maize that is genetically modified in South Africa. The other states in Southern Africa that also have high HIV eat maize, but not necessarily genetically modified maize. And there have been studies that have been done that are making a correlation between number 1, maize, and number 2, genetically modified foods for attenuation of immunity. Not only in Africa, but even in America, you have a 52% use of chronic medication, illustrating a problem with the immunity. So we've been saying, in Africa and AU, can we have studies and commissions that make a correlation coefficient of our food, the diseases, attenuation of our health, so that we can determine what is going on exactly with some of these foods that can be weaponized? Thank you.
Thank you once again, Commissioner. Just to buttress her point, what is the purpose of bringing in foreign seeds when we could preserve the seeds that we have? Because you find that the people that are providing us with the foreign seeds are actually on record to have taken some of our organic seeds back to their country. So if our seed is not as good, why are they taking it back to their country? Why can't we preserve our own, grow our own, and encourage our own? The people that are also pushing the whole climate change agenda, Europeans, they themselves have protests in their country, people revolting. They don't want to eat lab-grown meat. They don't want to eat lab-grown products. So what is our plan then when it comes to Africa if we continue accommodating the seeds? Are we also going to move in the direction of lab-grown food? Is that viable for Africa? Is that something that we can prosper as good health for Africans? Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you. Commissioner and Director, I have to caution you, if you're not familiar with the study that does the correlation between GMOs and HIV, you do not have to comment on it, and we can always address it at a later date.
Thank you, Excellency. No, actually, it is very, very technical question, and Her Excellency is working with political issue. I have nothing anyone can indicate saying that African Union is supporting GMOs or not supporting GMOs. The issue of GMOs, till this minute, it is deliberation among the scientists all over the world. And the GMOs issues, it is, I think, it is country decision so far. But to conclude, actually, I support what you have said, and I will start to work with this coalition and coefficiency and diseases. But this is, it will be beyond the capacity of our office. It needs, working in group and in teamwork with other departments. So we will start as soon as we'll have budget for that, and we'll do that, and we'll submit it as soon as possible to our SCTCs, because any decision has to be going through the SCTCs and then to the Executive Council for endorsement. And hopefully, if you can hear good news, it's not mean good news, what do you need? The good news, it is for the Africa needs, yes. Hopefully, if you can hear good news as soon as possible, as we'll start to develop this strategy and to submit it for the citizens. Thank you, lady.
I just want to add another one. I think this idea that Doctor you put on your table is very good, but I will also advise you, because those questions are very pertinent. They're scientific, but they're very pertinent. We can see today, we in Africa before, things like cancer, it used to be for rich people. Today, people have this. We go to supermarket in Europe, you said it rightly, they don't eat this, synthetic food. They eat bio food. So that is why our GRAP that I said, the green recovery, we have nature-based solution. You know, there's a pillar of nature-based solution to support the small-scale farmers that are still working on that. So we have a project on that. Canada is going to support us on that area because we want nature-based, we want agroecologic agriculture on our district because they are running away from all these GMO, and you go to their supermarket, there is a bio, you know, bio, everything is bio. So if they are running away from it, they cannot tell us because of our population growth, we have to take those seeds because they are more productive or more of the yield is higher. It doesn't make sense. But those are questions that I will tell my team to work with the CDC. They are getting a lot of money to undertake these studies. I will tell the director of CDC, we have the Africa CDC, I will talk to him to join my team, even in terms of the livestock, is the same thing, to join my team, let them do the study, and then we can submit, we can put it on the next, I will not be here anymore, the next STC that we are going to have next year, the next STC, they can put it with the ministers, they can look at the technical level and then go to the ministers so that we can come from here, we inform them, but with evidence basis documents.
Thank you, members of the press. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for the insights. Again, the conversation doesn't stop here. It's a conversation that we keep having on how to improve the welfare and the well-being of the African population. My name is Doreen Apollos. It's been a pleasure moderating this press conference. As always, find more information on AU website and digital platforms. Thank you very much and have a good evening.